Okay, so for continuing on from here, we're having our different colors that we're going to use to represent any negatives. So a pink minus sign is going to represent our negatives, and a green positive sign or plus sign is going to represent your positives. So you're going to want to make sure you definitely have those colors out. So here, in our very first example, how many negatives do I have written in the first column? How many? 8. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I'm writing this as an addition problem, I note that my very first value is going to be a -8. And I am making this into an addition problem, so I'm going to go ahead and put a plus sign. And I want to know, what am I adding to it? So what I'm adding to it is going to be whatever the second column is. The second column is a clustering of positives. How many positives? 6, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positives that we're going to be writing here. So we're going to write plus 6, and we're basically trying to identify what the numerical expression is going to be to represent this situation. Now, based off of what we're seeing here, I actually have a set of 0 pairs. So remember, 0 pairs are positive and negatives, right? A number and its opposite, that when you add them together, they will equal 0. How many 0 pairs do I have modeled here? How many positives can be canceled out by negatives? How many, Brittany? 6, right? I have 6 of them that can be canceled out. If I go ahead and circle this cluster right here represents the 6 0 pairs that I am able to create. Okay, for every negative, I have a positive that can go ahead and cross off. I can cross all of those off, and what I'm left with is 2 negatives. So that's my answer. My answer, if I take -8 and add 6, I'm going to get -2. So what we're doing in these situations, taking these tiles, we're identifying what our key numerical expression is going to look like, -8 plus 6. What our 0 pairs are going to be, how many 0 pairs we have, and then simplifying the expression to its final remaining value, which was the -2. I want you guys to do the exact same thing for problems 2 and 3. Okay, so for here, when we're writing our expression, we start off with the very first value. What's the first value that we're going to write? Go ahead. -4. Okay, so we have 4 negatives. Again, we are adding on to that. What are we adding on to it? Corbin? 7. Okay, so we have 7 positives that we can go ahead and add on to there. Okay, how many 0 pairs are there? 4, right? We have 4 0 pairs located here that they can go ahead and get canceled out. 4 0 pairs. And so then what's remaining is our final expression, which happens to be a +3. Okay, what about for problem 3? What's the first value that's being represented? Brittany? -5. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives. What's the second value that's being represented? Aya? 2 what? -2, right? Don't forget your negatives. We have -2. Okay, how many 0 pairs are there? Huh? There isn't any, right? There's no 0 pairs. So we have 0 pairs. There's nothing that's able to cancel out. So that means we're just going to be left with the combination of both columns, which is going to equal what? -7. Okay? So that's showcasing how we would model it using our tiles. This is supposed to be on the next page, the number lines in that problem. So we're going to go ahead and flip it on over to the next page, which should be on the back. Just go ahead and write this problem above your number line. You want to give yourself plenty of space to write it above it though, because we're going to be writing some notes in here. So this is problem number 1, and the problem is -6 plus 2. Okay, so when we are modeling on a number line, we basically are focusing on the modeling of addition. Okay, when we model addition, our integers give us direction. So this is true for adding. I want you to write it up at the top. When adding on a number line, if you have a positive value, what direction do you think the positive number is going to tell you to move on a number line? Right. To the right. Positive moves to the right, and the negative is the opposite of that, and negative is going to move to the left. Okay, so positive numbers indicate that we move to the right on our number line. Negative numbers indicate that we're going to move to the left on the number line. And again, this is for addition. If it's subtraction, we convert it into addition and then follow the suit. Okay, when we are working with problems like these, we always start off at 0. That is the very first thing that we do. We're going to always start at 0. The start of our problem always takes place at 0, and then from there we identify where to move. So starting at 0, the very first component of our problem is -6. So starting at 0, we're going to move 6 spots to the left to represent that -6. Okay. Start at 0, we're going to move 6 to the left to represent that -6. I'm going to put -6 in parentheses. Then from there, we go on to our second number. Our second number is a +2. The second number is a +2. So we're then going to move to the right. We're going to move 2 spots to the right to represent that +2. Now, am I going to start at 0 and move 2 spots to the right? No. We are adding 2 to the -6, not to 0. So we're starting where we left off, starting at -6 and moving 2 spots to the right. 1, 2. And then we're done. So there's our final answer. What we've modeled on the number line, modeling -6 plus 2, is showcased here. Move 6 spots to the left, followed by an additional 2 spots to the right, and that lands us on our answer. So if I were to ask you what is -6 plus 2, you would tell me it's equal to -4. Now for problems like number 3, where they're giving you an absolute value, you would have to take the absolute value first before you could start maneuvering on your number line. Go ahead and do problems 2 and 3 on your own. Okay, for problem number 2, again, you start at 0. We're starting at the 0. We're going to use the first value of a +3 to tell us to move 3 spots to the right. Okay, we're going to move 3 to the right, followed by moving 5 to the left. Okay, starting at the 3, we're going to move 5 spots to the left, and you should have landed on -2. So you're indicating that 3 plus that -5 is going to be equal to -2. Okay, for your last one, the first thing that you have to do is you have to identify the absolute value of -3. What's the absolute value of -3? 3. So really this problem is 3 plus negative 7. So again, focusing on the first part says it's a positive 3. So that means that we're going to move 3 spots to the right. Starting at 0, move 3 to the right. And then from there, we're going to move 7 spots to the left, which ends us up at negative 4. So you move 7 to the left. Okay, which means that our original problem of absolute value of negative 3 plus the negative 7 is going to be equal to negative 4. Okay, so those are the various ways that you can go ahead and model it or work out problems dealing with integers for addition and subtraction. You could follow your rules, you can model it using a number line, you can model it using tiles. What you're going to be doing today is there are a lot of you who still need to finish up the 3 IXL skills that were assigned at the beginning of the week. The rest of you that are done, so here's the following people who have finished the 3 IXL skills that were assigned already. Camila, you're done. Isaac is done. Corbin is done. Brennan, did I say it correct? Brennan? Okay, Brennan is finished. Mackenzie's finished. Brittany is finished. Carol is finished. Okay, so those are the only people who are going to get onto today's IXL skill. Everybody else, when you get into your Google Classroom, you are going to click on Monday, August 12th, and you're going to click on those 3 skills that were loaded to this week's Monday, not last week's. You're not going to last week's stuff, you're going to this week's material. Okay? Get on there and get that completed. If you finish all of the IXL skills and there's still class time, then you can get on to Prodigy. Again, Prodigy is constantly doing a diagnostic in the background so that it can give a good placement for you.